All right, this is a very hard video for me to make, but both of my parents either drank or smoke. And this is going to be a very hard video for me because I'm going to be telling you guys about something that I went through, why I don't do things, and what got me into the gym. So, here we go. I had one parent drink, I had one parent smoke, and these things led me when other kids were 10, 11, 12, 13, getting into these things, getting into their family's alcohol cabinet or stealing weed from their older brother, whatever the case may be, I simply looked at these things as an output, a way of making all your problems go away for a little bit, not permanently, and actually possibly making your problems bigger. You know what I mean? And I've seen one of my parents drunk, actually both, and I just think of like it shows how weak you are. Same thing with weed. I would say that yeah, some people use it for medical stuff, but obviously they weren't using it for medical. They were using it for a outlet, right? And I always said I made a promise to myself when I seen one parent drunk as hell pick me up. I promised to myself I would never put myself in this predicament for my kids or for myself. I never drink. I can't even finish a drink of alcohol, any kind of drink. Smoke, I cannot smoke. I'm sorry. This is a very hard video for me to make because I've never really talked about the why I think and what motivates me. So I love my parents to death. They brought me up the best they could, and I cannot thank them enough for where I am because anywhere I go from here on out, it is due to them. So I don't want to sound like I'm dissing them, but they've taught me a lot at a very young age, and I always looked at the gym as an outlet. I started eating shitty food when I was a kid. I feel like everybody does, and I noticed to have on my frame at the time, my body, I was very skinny but very fat, which I call today skinny fat. And I didn't like the way I looked. Granted, when I was watching SpongeBob or Cartoon Network, whatever, it would feel awesome. I felt like I was chilling, I was having the time of my life. However, when I went up to take a shower or whatever, I was not confident in the way I looked. And going into middle school, going into that, like you try to talk to girls, I was never confident in the way I was because I never felt the way I wanted to feel. And that was due to the fact that I was not happy with the way I held myself accountable, the way I held myself in school. And I felt like a big problem was the way I looked. The way I looked, I would lift my shirt up and I'd have a belly. You know what I mean? I wasn't confident enough to take my shirt off at the beach, and it really hurt and it really, fucked with my brain up there mentally. And, I had girlfriends in middle school and they would always be like, oh, let's go to the beach. I was like, I don't know, I'm not feeling good. Like, it really took a toll on me. So my mom started taking me to the gym and it hurt. It really hurt. And I know there's like shirts out there. I don't like going to the gym because it hurt. No, it hurt my muscles so bad. Your first workout, your second workout. And it hurt so much. But then I noticed, like, when I was watching, I think it's 17 again, by Zach Efron's in it. He takes his shirt off, he has abs, and I'm like, damn, like, I want that physique. That is what would make me confident as a young man. If I had abs, I would go and talk to that girl that I'm afraid to talk to, right? So I thought early on in my working out stage that, doing a million sit ups a day or doing a bunch of leg raises would get me abs. And I was still eating Fruit Loops for breakfast, still eating Eggos for lunch, and then dinner would be mac and cheese, something like that, right? And from like Boston Market or something, I don't know. But I noticed in an early stage, I did a lot of research. I'll say I was 13 or 14 about diets, and everybody else was out there drinking and smoking. I was looking up diet plans and how to get stronger so I could be more confident to go up and talk to girls. Now, I took this very personal and I made this my goal. Once I went up into high school, I wanted to get a scholarship for any sport that I played just so I could go to college, on a free ride. And that's the goal I feel like for everybody. So I wanted to get big. I wanted to put on size. I wanted to put on muscle, not only for my benefit now, but for sports and stuff like that. So that's how I looked at it. And that's really why I started working out. This is like the most important video, I would say. And once I had the abs, I just thought it wasn't enough. I got the diet down, I had the abs, I looked amazing, I felt really confident. I did talk to the girls, but then I wanted more. Then I wanted to do a powerlifting meet. Then I wanted to do a bodybuilding show, and I'd done both of those. So I'm really happy with the way I ended up. But circling back to the parents, I've just always held myself accountable. I can't finish an alcoholic beverage. I cannot smoke because it's something that I just grew up not having as an outlet. I grew up having physical activity as an outlet, running, working out, walking, making food, making something healthy. That is my outlet, and that should be yours too. I know there's probably going to be people that watch this that either drink or smoke. That is not something that you should look forward to as an outlet. You got to do something that can physically benefit you. And trust me, the earlier you do it, the earlier you think, or shit, if you think it's too late, it's never too late. You got to make this your outlet because physically, I try to, or mentally, I try to just be like, I got to be better than my parents. I cannot let my kids see me. I don't even want to see me drunk or high or none of that. That's not how I want to be looked at. And that is why I hold myself the way I do. The gym I look at as an outlet that I could get better every single day, every time I go. And I made a promise to myself at a very young age that that is exactly what I would do. I would do something that benefits me physically, mentally, and physically. I think I said physically twice, but yeah, so that is my outlet. That is my promise. The day I started working out is the day I made that promise to myself. I am now 22 years old and I still have that promise and I'm so proud of myself. But this is the most important video on my YouTube video. I hope you guys like it. Drop a like, subscribe, and I hope to have more content coming out like this for you guys. See you guys in the next video. I'm out.